All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Robert Smirking Gun Reviews. We're back with Castle Rock, the newest episode, Season 1, Episode 6, Filter. And again, I'm reviewing a show that no matter what I do, I appear to piss off somebody. So at this point, I don't even care if I piss off anybody. This is a halfway decent episode, yet just, I don't know. I'm having a hard time with it. I'm having a hard time thinking of how to review it. I've thought about I've thought about the part about how this is like a Stephen King book, just real dense and lots of details. It's just difficult to do it. The performances are all solid. I mean, Bill Skarsgård has nothing to do. And if you like Bill Skarsgård, that's fine. I honestly don't have anything against the guy, but what is he given to do here? He just stands there looking creepy. And at this point, I mean, whoever he is, whatever he is, I don't think I'll be like, I'll be underwhelmed no matter what. One of the things I do find interesting here is Ruth's, Sissy Spacek's little talk she has with Henry's son about time. Now, Creepy McCreepeyes says that time is her enemy. No shit, Sherlock. Time is everyone's enemy. But it was one of those moments where I was like, oh my God, somebody asked for information and we are actually going to get something. And then he just says something that is so vague enough to be a thing where I'm saying, time is everyone's enemy. So what makes it her enemy? What makes that saying different than just the general acceptance that time is everyone's enemy? So there we go. We get an answer, but we don't get an answer. And that's a lot of this, is more questions. I mean, now we know it's a J.J. Abrams show because we keep getting more questions and no answers. Or our answers are almost given and then we have to wait till the next episode to get a little bit more information. So it's just a slog, man. But to go back to her conversation about how, most things are moving forward. Now, this part I do like. I really, really, really like this part, talking about being a people mover and that somehow she got off. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if she's talking about her Alzheimer's or if she's talking about literally being kind of in different time periods at the same time. Because, somebody with Alzheimer's is... they don't always know when or where they're at. Or is this just a convenient plot device that a person with Alzheimer's is literally jumping through time? And so it's just another creepy, vague conversation that even though it's an interesting topic, I don't know what to do with that information. But it's the way she delivers it is really good. I really like it. She doesn't know if her dad's outside and that Henry seems like a little boy that she just picked up at the Fosters. And she's talking to this, to Henry's son about this, and it just kind of just stops and goes nowhere after that. The whole thing with Creepy McCreepeyes telling, Scott Glenn that he's going to help her and he needs to get something out of the warden's car, which, I love Scott Glenn, but he didn't get anything to do here. The cool thing is when he pulls the gun on the guy, gives it, that was cool. I mean, that's an intense kind of moment. Like, listen, asshole, I'm going to, this is my fucking shit now. And that's fine. But then when he goes back to Creepy McCreepeyes and he's got blood all over, on his hands and stuff, it's like, he says some more vague, creepy shit about there's going to be a monument to all, like, to the warden and the people who kept me in that cage, and why did you leave me in the car? And again, I got a feeling like okay, so this is just season 1, right? So we're either gonna get a whole big exposition dump right at the end of this season, or we're gonna get nothing, almost nothing. And if we don't get, like, at least if they give us a big exposition dump and give us a bunch of answers, then at least I can say that it did lead to something. It shouldn't take this long to just all of a sudden, most shows would not get away with having people defend it in the comment section like they do if they were doling out the information the way this show does. Okay, do you think Lost or Breaking Bad or any really good show would be getting defended if they were doling out things like this? Even Lost, at least, there were things happening in it to keep you interested, so that when they kept adding to the mystery, you would have one mystery solved and they'd give you another one, at least, and action and things, were popping, and this is just, there's nothing happening. So if this ends up being like at the end where there's just nothing really explained, I don't know if I could wait another year. Like, how could I be looking forward to the next season if, again, I'm just getting nothing? Now, like the whole thing with Henry, going out to the woods, it's a great idea. And of course the battery runs out, but because that's just that's a very Stephen King thing to do, is go out there and the battery runs out, and now he's kind of in the middle of nowhere trying to retrace the steps of his childhood. And it was cool that he finds those guys, and that the guy is like this really smart, acoustics, like, scientist who's out there studying what they call the voice of God, which almost lost me right there. But then they start talking about here's and nows and different realities, and I'm kind of thinking that it goes back to what Ruth was saying. So I'm hoping that that's all, like, maybe the whole purpose of this show being called Castle Rock is and that there's no real anchor to the show, like a Stephen King book like Christine, it's about a car, it's about it, like there's always something when you're reading one of his books that you can go, okay, this is what it's about. But so far this show doesn't have that anchor to say that it's about anything. And so I'm hoping that maybe what the anchor ends up being is that Castle Rock, the show, is about multiple realities surrounding this town. And that's kind of just what I started to gather with what this guy was saying. And I do like, this guy's, made himself death, he calls perfect. And he made that filter in his RV where it's perfectly silent. And that's really cool too. And Henry, begrudgingly goes inside. And we start to get something from that, something from what's going on in his head and his memories. And then they cut away. So now, again, we almost get something, and then they take it away from us, and then we gotta wait again. And that's whatever. I mean, like I said, if it ends up in the end and they give us the information that we don't get, then that's fine. But if I gotta keep waiting and waiting and waiting to find out what the fuck was going on in the goddamn woods, it's just not worth it. Again, you got Jane Levy's character in here, the assistant to Molly, who gets nothing to do here but tell Henry that she's, Molly's around back. She gets nothing to do with this. Why is she in this? Melanie Lynskey, all she gets is to tell him, which this was also good, but then there's nothing. He just calls her crazy and leaves. Her trying to explain to him what's been going on, confessing about the death of his father and that how they both played a role in it, and she can't explain it. At least she's trying to explain something to him and to us about what's been going on. But then he calls her crazy and walks away. But then he, if she's crazy, then why is he walking around in the woods with a video camera? And the small detail of him sending creepy McCreep-Eyes to Juniper Hill, which has been in a bunch of Stephen King books, which was interesting. But then, okay, you hear on the radio that there's a fire, bunch of people are dead, some inmates are loose. And so, of course, Creepy McCreep-Eyes had to have something had to have happened, because crows don't just fall out of the sky, which was fucking hilarious. He just shows up and a crow kamikazes itself into the ground, and nobody really blinks. Oh, that happened before. Why? This dude shows up and birds start falling out of the sky, and everybody's just like, yeah, weird, right? I don't know. And like I know I'm going to get ripped to shreds. I know the comment section is going to blast me for every little thing probably that came out of my mouth in this review. Because no matter how much I love the performances, no matter how much I love the potential of this show, I'm having a hard time here. And people can call me stupid, and I'm not that bright, and all this other stuff. But some shows, I just can't do. Same thing with Sharp Objects. I like the show just fine. Don't know how to review it, because there's nothing to grab onto that gives you further reason to watch it. I don't know. I'm actually looking forward to this show being over so I can maybe go back and watch it all again and see what the hell everybody's talking about that makes this show so good to defend it in the way that everybody's defending it. Next week's trailer, at least should have the answer to why McCreep-Eyes has got blood on his hands. Sissy Spacek and Melanie Lynskey, it looks like that's going to be a pretty heavy episode for them, like just telling what happened in between the time that Henry's off in the woods and Scott Glenn's getting the thing out of the car, or what happened in between that time. So hopefully that's all it'll be about. Let's just focus on one thing, and maybe we'll get a really good episode out of it. So anyway, in the end, yes, it's a decent episode. There's some good parts about it, but I'm just still like, the whole thing about this show not having an anchor, something to like say what it's really about, other than just some weird shit going on in this town where weird shit happens. At least in the Stephen King book, you have a plot that you can go, okay, well, in this story, the devil came to town and he's got an antique shop. In this, there's a car that's running over people. In this, there's a rabid dog. In this, there's just a bunch of random shit happening that doesn't really seem to be leading anywhere but more confusion. So, I don't know. I'm not frustrated. I'm still just a little disappointed. And I just keep hoping for something to happen that'll make me go, wow. Like that RV scene almost made me go, wow, and then they cut away from it. And now I got to wait again for a week to find out, maybe more than a week, if next week's episode is mostly about Sissy Spacek. So anyway, I'm not even going to say like, dislike, comment, subscribe, because my heart's just not in it. And I apologize to anybody that doesn't like this video and is pissed off at what I say, because I really wish I had better things to say about it. Anyway, this is Robert Smirking Gun Reviews saying, I'll see you on the next video, and have a nice day. Bye. And it wasn't turning off.